you for your patience while we were hanging out there for a minute. Now we're going to head out into one of the most diverse ecosystems here in Africa, and that is the African savanna. The savanna is home to lots of different migratory species of animals, as well as some awesome species of plants, such as a very interesting tree on our right-hand side, known as the Baobab Tree. But the Baobab Tree is pretty funny looking because it looks like it was planted upside down with its roots sticking in the air. That's because it currently does not have any leaves on it. The Baobab Tree is nicknamed the Tree of Life for its ability to keep itself alive over long periods of drought. It does this by storing water in its trunk and only producing those leaves about 3 months out of the year. If I have any friends on the truck from regions where the trees shed their leaves every autumn, the Baobab Tree is from the same family as those trees, known as deciduous trees.
Yeah, they totally will.
Now, as I mentioned, a lot of the species that live here on the savanna are migratory species, and they will travel across the savanna grazing on the grass and eating the leaves on the trees, and that helps promote new growth. As a result, the savanna is in a constant state of change. Two such species are on our right-hand side. The smaller tan antelope with the white stomachs are known as Springbok. And the larger brown species of cattle is the Ankoli cattle, also known as the Watusi cattle. Now those Springbok get their name from their ability to spring 6 to 8 feet straight in the air, or 13 feet forward when they're scared. And that athletic ability actually places them among some of the fastest animals on Earth. Now those Ankoli cattle are also known as Watusi cattle after the Watusi tribe in Africa, which was the first to domesticate them. The horns on their head can grow up to 3 to 4 feet in length, or 6 feet from tip to tip. However, they are not as heavy as they look. They are made up of a honeycomb structure on the inside that keeps those horns light. The cattle's blood also circulates through those horns through capillaries in the horns, and that helps cool the temperature of their blood.
I wonder if the dogs are out.
Cattle, like the Ankoli cattle, are a sign of status in Africa, so typically the larger your herd of cattle, the more important you are. Those cattle will be let out onto the savanna to graze during the daytime, and then at night will be collected back into areas surrounded by thorny bushes called manada or boma to help protect them from predators. Now up on our left-hand side, on top of the rock den, is a spotted hyena. Now, spotted hyena are not dogs, nor are they cats. They're actually of their own family, known as Hyenidae. Hyenas live in groups called clans, and those clans are led by a dominant female. Now, most people are familiar with hyenas because of the hysterical laughing noise that they can make, but they can actually make over 200 unique vocalizations, whether that's barking, chirping, or that hysterical laughing. On either side of the truck, these large gray creatures are white-bearded wildebeest. White-bearded wildebeest are one of the more popularly known migratory species here in Africa. They travel in herds of up to 1.5 million over distances of 500 to 1,000 miles every single year in search of food. Another name you might have heard for the white-bearded wildebeest is the gnu, spelled G-N-U, which comes from the sound that they make, which sounds like a soft new sound. Now, since the herd is always on the move, it's probably very helpful that a newborn white-bearded wildebeest can get up and walk around within about 15 minutes of being born. Typically, those baby wildebeest are born at nighttime. The cover of darkness gives them the protection they need to get up and walk around and acclimate to their environment without predators being able to see them. Those wildebeest herds get pretty big, but they actually do form subgroups within the herd, so there will be smaller bachelor groups and things like that. Now, at nighttime, they will sleep. Of course, as a herd, it's very hard to escape 1.5 million of your brothers and sisters, but they will sleep within organized rows within the herd, giving each other enough space to get up and walk around and run in case a predator comes along. Now, on our left is a Patterson's Elent. They are the largest species of antelope, with male Elent weighing up to 1,000 pounds fully grown. There's also an African bunny down between the tall grass there, on the left-hand side. You might see these large reddish-brown mounds on either side of the truck. Those are termite mounds. Termites use spit and dirt to build these mounds to live in, and once they harden in the sun, they are as hard as concrete. This makes them great vantage points for smaller species like Springbok to look out for predators on the savanna, as well as making them perfect scratching posts for larger species like elephants and rhinos. Now, if I have any fans of giraffes on board, if you look off the left-hand side of the truck, there is a group of giraffes here, known as a tower. And most of you might know that giraffes are the tallest land animals. They'll reach heights of 18 to 20 feet tall, fully grown. A newborn giraffe is about 6 feet tall when it's born.
Look at the pattern on the body.
Now, it's a common misconception that giraffes have horns, but those things on their heads are not horns. They're actually called ossicones. When a giraffe is born, its ossicones are made of cartilage and lie flat against its head. That gives mama giraffe an easier time giving birth. Now, as the giraffe grows older, its ossicones start to stand up, turn to bone, and fuse to its skull. Just like the okapi we saw, giraffes have that prehensile tongue that they'll use to reach up into the trees to grab food. An adult giraffe's tongue is about 18 to 20 inches in length. That's about as long as the average adult forearm. Giraffes have black tongues. Scientists aren't quite sure why, but they speculate it's because giraffes spend so much time with their tongue out foraging in the trees to prevent them from getting sunburned.
Right there. It was wild.
Off on our right-hand side, I spot an African elephant. African elephants are the larger species of elephant we find here on Earth compared to the Asian elephant. Asian elephants are a little bit smaller. They have smaller ears. That's the easiest way to identify which species of elephant you're looking at. It's also said that the African elephant's ears are shaped like the continent of Africa. Now, based on the fact that this elephant is off by itself, it tells me it's probably an adult male or a bull elephant. Adult male elephants become solitary and will separate from the herd as they reach adulthood, but I bet the family herd is not too far away, and I know of another watering hole in the area that we can go check, see if we can find that family herd. Now, we used to have the perfect shortcut, literally right there, that would shave like 2 days off our 2-week trip, but unfortunately the road got washed out. But it does offer an excellent view of that African elephant. So we're gonna head on this way. This way is pretty cool. It takes us through a historic district here in Harambee. We are home to the world's oldest bridge. And it is an engineering marvel because it is held together entirely by duct tape. So to test that duct tape, I'm going to take it really, really slow. There's a very tense silence coming from this truck. Ooh, we made it. Was that stressful? I thought that was stressful. Judging by the color of these rocks, that tells me we're probably headed into a red clay pit. And it looks like there have indeed been elephants through the area. As you can see on the right-hand side, there are tusk marks in red clay. Elephants eat red clay to get essential minerals in their diet that they wouldn't otherwise get from the vegetation that grows here on the savannah that they primarily eat. They'll use their tusks to dig into that red clay and then use their trunk to scoop it up into their mouth. Now, I do see the family herd off in the distance, so I'm going to come around the bend so you can get a better look. Your typical herd of elephants is made of adult females. They do live in a matriarchal society, meaning that there is a female in charge. During the day, different family groups will intermingle, but at nighttime, the younger elephants are called back to their mothers to spend the night as an immediate family. Elephants are migratory and they tend to congregate near watering holes, not only to drink the water, but to keep themselves cool. They'll use their trunk to toss water up onto their backs throughout the day, and they'll do the same thing with dirt. Elephants have very sensitive skin, so they'll toss dirt onto their backs to use as a form of sunscreen. Now, we do spot a baby elephant off in the distance there to the left of the Baobab Tree. The gestation period for a baby elephant is 22 months.
Is that Duncan?
Now, elephant conservation is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. Elephants are highly endangered. That's for a couple of different reasons. Many of you might know that elephants suffer from poaching for their tusks, which are made of ivory. Elephant ivory is highly valued on the black market. In addition, elephants suffer from habitat loss due to mining for coltan. Coltan is a metallic ore used to make our personal electronic devices like cell phones and laptops. A great way to help out elephant conservation efforts is to recycle those old electronics when you're all done with them. Recycling those electronics will reduce the need to mine for more coltan and slow the loss of those elephant habitats. Now, off on our left-hand side are some ducks and also some greater flamingo. Now, greater flamingo are those large pink birds on the island, and they're not actually born pink, they are born gray. They get their pink color from a diet high in carotene, which they get from eating lots and lots of shrimp. They'll spend most of their day and night actually shuffling around in the water to pick up shrimp and other invertebrates that they like to eat. Then about a year to a year and a half after they're born, they've eaten enough shrimp to turn them pink. Now, if you looked at the flamingo's leg, it looks like their knee joint bends backwards compared to a human, but it turns out that's not their knee you're looking at. It's actually their ankle joint located halfway up their leg. Well, the flamingo's knee joint is located closer to its body. Now, poaching is an unfortunate reality for many different species out in the wild, such as elephants and the rhinos, as well as large cats that are poached for their fur. Reserves like this are set up to help protect those species, but of course we can't put every single animal on a reserve. That means it's up to us as consumers to make sure we're not purchasing items containing natural animal substances coming from the black market. Once we reduce demand for those substances, that'll put poachers out of a job and help protect species for future generations. A common question I get is actually about keratin, because many ladies use hair products that contain keratin. That is synthetic keratin, so that is safe. A great way to avoid rhino keratin. Step 1, do not buy rhino horns, especially authentic ones. You want to make sure that any natural keratin is coming from sustainable sources. Now, off on our left-hand side, I'm going to creep forward a little bit. There is a cheetah way back along the tree line. Up walking around. You can just make her out. You can see kind of the white tip on her tail is the best way to find her. Now, cheetahs are the fastest land animals. They'll reach top speeds of 60 to 65 miles an hour, and they'll reach that top speed in about 3 seconds. However, they cannot hold it for very long, as it does completely exhaust them. It actually takes almost an entire day's energy for a cheetah to run at that top speed. Get a better look here on our left. They will only run at their top speed in short bursts.
So never to the car.
Unlike other large cats, cheetahs primarily hunt during the daytime. That is when their vision is best. As we round the bend here on our left-hand side, this large rock formation is called a kopie. Kopies are great vantage points for predators looking for prey on the savannah. So keep your eyes peeled. For example, the African lion. Now here on the edge of the kopie, I see 2 female African lions. The easiest way to identify their gender is that males have a mane, females do not. The lions spend about 20 hours a day resting, not necessarily sleeping, but lying around. Then at nighttime they will go out and do their hunting, with females taking primary responsibility for the hunt. They'll leave the male at home to protect the younger members of the pride, as well as their territory. Now, lions are equipped with a number of adaptations to help them hunt more successfully. One of those is ears that rotate, as well as padded paws that allow them to silently stalk their prey. In addition, during the daytime, their vision is equivalent to the human eye. At nighttime, their vision is 6 times better than the average human eye. There's a male African lion on the back of the kopie there.
He hasn't moved in hours.
Now, even with all of those adaptations, only 1 in every 15 lion hunts is successful. Now, if you have a cat at home, you know your cat has very rough tongue. Lions share that trait, but their tongue is so rough that they have the ability to lick a carcass clean in about 10 to 15 licks. Gross, right?
Oh, wow.
Up ahead on either side of the truck is a very small brown species of antelope with a white face. These are bontabuk. Now, bontabuk are one of my favorite conservation stories because at one point they were considered the most rare animal in the world. It was about the early 20th century. There was only about 17 of them left. Now, one very smart farmer decided to take the remaining bontabuk, gather them up onto his farm, and put a fence around them. Because bontabuk lacked the ability to jump. That helped bring their numbers back up, and they were re-released back into the wild in the 1960s. Now, off on our right-hand side, those are white rhinos. White rhinos are the larger cousin of the black rhino, weighing in at about 4,600 pounds, fully grown. A group of rhinos like this is called a crash, for obvious reasons. Now, you'll notice those white rhino are not actually white, they're more of a gray color. That's because white rhinos get their name from a misinterpretation of the Afrikaans term bite, which translates in English to wide, and comes from the description of the wide mouth they use to browse the ground for food. Just like the black rhino, white rhinos are highly endangered due to poaching with their horns.
If he's standing in the same spot, I'll freak out.
Now we're headed into the last section of the reserve we'll get to see on our journey, and that's the Magadi Glen. The Magadi Glen is a recent acquisition here on the reserve thanks to Disney's Conservation Fund. Disney's Conservation Fund is a great way to get involved in conservation while you're here at the park today. You can donate any merchandise or food and beverage donations here at Animal Kingdom. And when you donate, 100% of proceeds go toward conservation efforts not only here at Animal Kingdom, but supporting organizations around the world that help out lots of different species. Even better, Disney will match your donation dollar for dollar. And the best part is you get a button when you donate. Now, my friends, these gates mark the end of our journey through the Harambee Wildlife Reserve. I hope you enjoyed getting to see the wide diversity of species we have here in Africa. Now, unfortunately, there is a common denominator between a lot of the species that we saw, and that is that humans are their primary predator. In the case of those rhinos we saw, we are their only predator. That means it's all the more important for us to get involved in conservation efforts to help preserve these species and get them off the endangered species list. A great way to get involved in conservation efforts is to learn as much as you can about a species you're passionate about, whether that's your favorite animal or maybe an animal you saw in the reserve or in the park today that you didn't know anything about. Learn as much as you can and tell everyone you know about that animal. Hopefully your passion will ignite some passion in your friends and family, and the more voices we have speaking out on behalf of these animals, the easier it will be to save them for future generations. And you never know, your voice might make a world of difference for a species like the white rhino. Now, my friends, our time together is coming to an end. It has been a pleasure having you on board the Simba One with me today. Again, my name is Annie. In the hopes that I do see you again, I will not say goodbye. That's too sad and too final. Instead, I'll leave you with a Swahili phrase, kwaherini, which means go well. So friends, kwaherini, go well, go wild, have a great rest of your day here at Disney's Animal Kingdom or wherever your adventures may take you. Asante sana.